Hello, this is Chris with Custom Creative Carvings and welcome to my shop. In the middle of a cutting board project, got a lengthy video going on about that, and I don't know if it'll be published before this one or after this one, but this one's just me going to be a quick short trick that I've found, and I'd like to get a conversation going about if this is a good idea or maybe a bad idea or an idea that's already out there. I haven't seen it. I've seen a few different ideas. The topic is when you're doing a big inlay on a cutting board. So right here I've got a maple cutting board with a 1/2 inch thick walnut inlay laid into that, and this covers a large volume of area. And for purposes of this conversation, well, for the purposes of this cutting board, but it makes this conversation easy to have, I cut out a large chunk of the center of this so we can see how that inlay has set into that. I've seen a couple of different things out there, either leave room around the outside for glue to come up, or I've seen one guy that did a really cool example and I thought it was a great idea. He actually left a large gap underneath because he didn't want that hollow sound in the board, so he left a large gap underneath, and then he cut out a section that he was going to put a different inlay in, and then he backfilled the bottom gap with epoxy. So it made a sandwich between the top layer, the bottom layer, and filled that gap with epoxy. So he was able to have that air gap with backfilled with epoxy. So he didn't have the air gap when it was done. So not only did he have a solid cutting board there, but here he had a solid cutting board also. So that's what I want to talk about, is how I was able to get this walnut in there solid without having to go and backfill with epoxy. So I'm going to bring the camera in a little bit closer so you can see what I did. Alright, so here we got the cutting board. I'm going to come in, get the camera in here for a close-up. And what I want to focus on is right up here on this end. So as you can see, here we've got maple meeting up with walnut, and there is no gap in there. And there's a little thin line of glue you can see between there. The way I was able to do this was I cut V grooves underneath the walnut before I inlaid it in the maple. And so what these became were glue channels for the glue to escape into. And they were probably full when it was wet, and then as the glue dried, it shrunk up and left these air gaps. But what we've got there is a very small area, and if you take that, you've got to come at a 45-degree angle to get down at that. You're not going to see any flex in that walnut over that short gap of area. And so in the next inlay I'm bringing in, I've done new V grooves here, allowing for cross channels for the glue to flow freely throughout the whole area. But as I put that down, it's going to have a lot of solid contact surface, but then there's also going to be places for all that excess glue to go. So I'm able to do an extremely tight V carve in there and set that all the way down on the bottom of that. So let me know what you think. Have you seen this done before? Does it seem like a good idea? Are you willing to give it a try? Throw it down in the comments. If you like the idea, give me a thumbs up. And if you want to see more of my videos, feel free to hit the subscribe button and ring that bell. I appreciate it. Thanks for watching.